Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. Under new business,
What's that motion for? Oh, okay, yeah. Continue the meeting.
we're now in session. It is 8:50 p.m. The Ohio and Wabash Valley Vocational System Intergovernmental Agency policies we need to accept. Everybody's had a chance to look at those. Do I have a motion to accept these policies? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
It says roll call.
Okay. Roll call on that, please.
Teresa Hawking. Aye. Kyle Peach.
Aye.
Janice Hawking. Aye. Neil Ernest.
Aye.
Ryan Peter.
Aye.
Susan Wood. Tim Schuler.
Aye. I'm going to stop for a second. I missed, before with the executive session, a chance for public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on some issue that's on the agenda tonight? Yes, sir.
Yes. It's not on the agenda, but I'd like to speak about something. My name is John King. Do I get a time limit or something?
Couple minutes.
Okay, it won't take that long, I was just wondering. This is my son, Dakota Banks. He's my stepson. I got to talking to him about stuff in school. What we'd like to see, me and my son, some other kids also, is extra mask breaks. He informed me that he only has 2 to 3 mask breaks a day. We don't think that's enough. He only gets one outside recess, and now it's winter time. So can't really do that. He gets one at lunch and one if he has PE. And that's what he informed me. I may be wrong. He may be a little wrong. But yeah, I would like to see extra mask breaks. You know, it helps the kids breathe, helps them loosen up a little bit instead of having something over their face the whole day. You know. The other item is open breakfast up a little bit earlier in the morning. My kid rides the bus. He only gets about maybe 15 to 10 minutes in the morning before they start yelling he has 5 minutes to eat breakfast. So I think, you know, when I went to school here, I enjoyed eating breakfast, and we got, I think it was 7:30 till, 8 till he had to go to class or whenever. But he enjoys eating breakfast here at the school. You know, he eats at home every once in a while, but he likes to come here and eat. And yeah, I'd like to see breakfast a little bit longer, open it up a little bit more, give him a little extra time. And that's not all I have right now, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll have Dr. Blair look into that.
Okay.
I will, is he in this building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will talk to the lady next to you about that.
Okay.
But, okay, yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sorry about skipping this earlier. Next on the agenda is a resolution declaring an intention to issue a $750,000 working cash fund bonds in the district for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund in the district and directing that notice of such intention be published in the manner provided by law.
So I will read the resolution that Tim just talked about. It says, whereas pursuant to the provisions of Article 20 of the School Code of the State of Illinois and all laws amendatory thereof and supplementary thereto, a fund to be known as a working cash fund may be created and maintained in and for Wabash Community Unit School District 348, Wabash County, Illinois, referred to as the district, in the manner prescribed in the code, for the purpose of enabling the district to have in its treasury at all times sufficient money to meet the demands thereon for expenditures for corporate purposes. And whereas the district has heretofore created and maintained such fund in the manner prescribed by the code, and whereas under the provisions of the code, the Board of Education of the district is authorized to incur an indebtedness and issue bonds as evidence thereof for the purpose of increasing the fund. And whereas the board has determined and does hereby determine that it is advisable, necessary, and in the best interest of the district that the fund be increased, and that the district incur an indebtedness and issue bonds as evidence thereof in the amount of $750,000 for said purpose. And whereas before such bonds may be issued for said purpose, the board must adopt a resolution declaring its intention to issue such bonds for said purpose and direct that notice of such intention be published as provided by law. Now, therefore, be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Board of Education of Community Unit School District Number 348, Wabash County, Illinois, as follows. Section 1, Incorporation of Preambles. The Board hereby finds that all of the recitals contained in the preambles to this resolution are full, true, and correct, and does incorporate them into this resolution by this reference. Section 2, Declaration of Intent. The Board hereby declares its intention to avail of the provisions of the Code and to issue bonds in the amount of $750,000 for the purpose of increasing the fund and enabling the district to have in its treasury at all time sufficient money to meet demands thereon for expenditures for corporate purposes. Section 3, Notice of Intent. In accordance with the provisions of Section 5 of the Local Government Debt Reform Act of the State of Illinois as amended, notice of said intention to avail of the provisions of Article 20 of the Code and to issue bonds for the purpose of increasing the fund shall be given by publication of such notice at least once in the hometown register, the same being a newspaper of general circulation in the district. Section 4, Form of Notice. The notice of intention to issue the bonds shall be in substantially the following form. The notice of intention of Community Unit School District Number 348, Wabash County, Illinois, to issue $750,000 working cash fund bonds. Public notice is hereby given that on the 10th day of January 2022, the Board of Education of Community Unit School District Number 348, Wabash County, Illinois, adopted a resolution declaring its intention and determination to issue bonds in the aggregate amount of $750,000 for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund of the district, and it is the intention of the board to avail of the provisions of Article 20 of the School Code of the State of Illinois and all laws amendatory thereof and supplementary thereto, and to issue said bonds for the purpose of increasing said working cash fund. Said working cash fund is to be maintained in accordance with the provisions of said article and shall be used for the purpose of enabling the district to have in its treasury at all time sufficient money to meet demands thereon for expenditures for corporate purposes. A petition may be filed with the Secretary of the Board within 30 days after the date of publication of this notice, signed by not less than 706 voters of the district, said number of voters being equal to 10% of the registered voters of the district, requesting that the proposition to issue said bonds as authorized by the provisions of said Article 20 be submitted to the voters of the district. If such petition is filed with the Secretary within 30 days after the date of publication of this notice, an election on the proposition to issue said bonds shall be held on the 28th day of June 2022. The Circuit Court may declare that an emergency referendum should be held prior to said election date pursuant to the provisions of Section 2A-1.4 of the Election Code of the State of Illinois as amended. If no such petition is filed within said 30-day period, then the district shall thereafter be authorized to issue said bonds for the purpose herein above provided. By order of the Board of Education of Community Unit School District Number 348, Wabash County, Illinois. It is dated this 10th day of January 2022, pending approval to be signed by our Secretary and President. Now seeing in Section 5 and Section 6. Section 5, further proceedings, if no petition signed by the requisite number of voters is filed with the Secretary of the Board within 30 days after the date of the publication of such notice of intention to issue the bonds, the Board shall, by appropriate proceedings to be hereafter taken, fix the details concerning the issue of the bonds and provide for the levy of the district's annual tax to pay the principal and interest on the same. Section 6, severability. If any section, paragraph, clause, or provision of this resolution shall be held to be invalid or unenforceable for any reason, the invalidity or unenforceability of such section, paragraph, clause, or provision shall not affect any of the remaining provisions of this resolution. Section 7, repealer and effective date. all resolutions and part of resolutions in conflict herewith be and the same are hereby replaced, and that this resolution be in full force and effect forthwith upon its adoption, to be adopted January 10th, 2022.
Thank you, Kyle. Hope you're not out of breath. I will take a motion to accept this resolution.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Roll call, please.
Kyle Peach.
Aye.
Neil Ernest.
Aye.
Teresa Hawking. Ryan Peter.
Aye.
Susan Wood. Janice Alkie, Tim Schuler.
Aye. Next on the agenda is student discipline. Ryan Peter, you're going to read something?
I'd like to make a motion that student CZ has been recommended for the following. Expulsion will be for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year for violating the student behavior section of the district governing student conduct as found in the student handbook of the district.
Do I have a second for this motion? Roll call, please.
Ryan Peter.
Aye.
Susan Wood. Janice Alkie, Kyle Peach. Neil Ernest. Teresa Hawking. Tim Schuler.
Aye. Dr. Blyer, we have some people to hire tonight.
Yes, tonight we're hiring our tutors for many of the schools for after school. One being Dawn Drone, the next Abby Lisi, Julie Haggerty, Isabella Knoll, and Christina Sloss. And we would also transferring Michelle Lofton to the high school nighttime custodian position, which she began last week.
Do you have a motion to hire these people or transfer them?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Is there anything else to come before the board? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Meeting adjourned.
That doing that? Yeah. So what they decided was to suspend him or expel him? Is that what they voted on?
Like throughout the remainder of this school year.
Okay.
Because it was up to 2 years was their, I think is what the handbook gives them the guidelines
Right.
to do. And they did throughout the remainder of this year.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure what they
I'll get the
said.
exact and like date, there will be dates associated with it.
Right.
And I'll be contacting you tomorrow because
Okay.
Yeah, they don't give two shits. Or single moms or anything.